If you're over 60, I want you to imagine this. You wake up in the morning, you stretch, and instead of feeling stiff or weak, your body feels strong, steady, and full of energy. Your legs carry you with confidence, your grip feels firm, and you know that you are not losing strength to age, you are gaining it back. Now here's the surprising truth. The difference between losing muscle and rebuilding it can often come down to something as simple as what you put on your plate at breakfast. And today, I'm going to share with you one powerful food that science shows can actually reverse muscle loss, protect you from sarcopenia, and help you stay stronger after 60. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, how old are you and where are you watching from? Leave a comment down below. I read them all, and it's always inspiring to see seniors from all over the US and around the world taking charge of their health. Now, let's get into it. Muscle loss after 60 isn't just a small issue. It's one of the biggest health threats we face as we age. Studies show that by the time we hit our 70s, up to 30% of our muscle mass can be gone. And if nothing is done, that loss doesn't stop. It keeps accelerating, making everyday activities harder, walking upstairs, carrying groceries, even standing from a chair. That's why doctors now call sarcopenia, the medical word for age-related muscle loss, a silent epidemic. It increases the risk of falls, fractures, and even death. But here's the part I want you to really hear. Sarcopenia is not inevitable. It can be reversed. The food I'm talking about today has been studied in some of the top nutrition labs in the world, and it's something you can find in almost any grocery store. The powerful breakfast food is eggs. Not just the whites, but the whole egg. Why eggs? Because they are one of the richest natural sources of high-quality protein and essential amino acids, especially leucine, the amino acid that flips the switch for muscle building. Now you might be thinking, but wait, aren't eggs bad for cholesterol? That was the old story. The new science tells us a very different truth. The dietary guidelines for Americans and even the American Heart Association now agree that for most healthy older adults, eating an egg or two daily is not only safe, but highly beneficial. And when it comes to fighting muscle loss, eggs are one of the most complete, efficient, and affordable protein sources you could possibly add to your breakfast. Think about this. One large egg gives you about 6 to 7 grams of protein. But more importantly, it gives you a high dose of leucine. And leucine is the key amino acid that signals your muscle tissue to grow. Most plant-based proteins are too low in leucine to trigger that muscle response. But eggs, they're like flipping the ignition switch for muscle protein synthesis. Let me share a quick study that blew me away. Researchers at the University of Illinois found that older adults who consumed high leucine foods like eggs showed significantly better muscle growth and strength compared to those who got the same amount of protein from lower leucine sources. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that older adults who ate protein-rich breakfasts, especially eggs, preserved more muscle mass than those who ate carb-heavy breakfasts like cereal or toast. So let's make this practical. Imagine you start your day with 2 scrambled eggs and maybe a slice of whole grain toast instead of just a bowl of cereal. That's already 12 to 14 grams of protein right in the morning. Add in some Greek yogurt or a handful of nuts on the side, and you're hitting 20 to 25 grams, the exact range research shows is necessary at each meal to maximize muscle building after 60. Now let's pause here for a moment. When was the last time you thought about your breakfast as a medical treatment? Because that's what it really is. Every bite you eat can either feed sarcopenia or fight it. Eggs, when eaten daily, become a medicine for your muscles. But it's not just about the protein. Eggs also contain vitamin D, vitamin B12, selenium, and choline, all nutrients that are often low in seniors, and all of which play critical roles in energy metabolism, brain function, and bone strength. Low vitamin D, for example, has been directly linked to weaker muscles and a higher risk of falls. By eating eggs, you're not only protecting your muscles, you're also protecting your balance, your mobility, and even your cognitive health. Now, some of you might be asking, what if I can't eat eggs every day? Maybe you have an allergy, or maybe you simply don't enjoy them. that's okay. The real principle here is high-quality, leucine-rich protein at breakfast. Eggs are the best and most accessible option, but you can also rotate in options like cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or even a protein shake. The key is to stop relying on carb-only breakfast like toast, oatmeal without protein, or pastries. They spike your blood sugar, but do nothing for your muscles. Let me give you a challenge right now. For the next week, swap out your usual breakfast for 2 eggs, however you like them. Boiled, scrambled, poached, or in an omelet. Track how you feel. Do you notice more energy through the day? Do you feel steadier when you walk? Are your cravings lower in the afternoon? If yes, that's your body telling you it's finally getting the muscle nutrition it's been asking for. And here's something interesting. People often worry, what about the yolk? That's where the cholesterol is. But the yolk is also where most of the nutrients live. Half the protein, all the vitamin D, almost all the choline, and antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your eyes, are in the yolk. If you're throwing away the yolk, you're throwing away the medicine. Unless your doctor has specifically told you otherwise, keep the yolk. So now you see why eggs aren't just breakfast food. They're a muscle protection strategy. They're a sarcopenia fighting tool. And the sooner you start making them part of your routine, the sooner you'll feel that strength coming back. But let's take this deeper, because reversing muscle loss isn't only about what you eat, it's about when you eat it. Many older adults make a mistake without realizing it. They eat very little protein at breakfast and lunch, then load up on protein at dinner. But the body after 60 doesn't work like it did at 30. It needs balanced protein across the day, especially in the morning, to keep muscle building signals active. That's why adding eggs to your breakfast is so powerful. You're sending your body the message right away, build, don't break down. Now let me ask you a question. Do you usually eat a protein-rich breakfast, or do you skip it and go straight to coffee or cereal? Comment below. I'd love to know. And if this video is making sense so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because in the next part, I'm going to share exactly how much protein you need per meal after 60 and why your muscle clock depends on timing just as much as total amount. This is the part most people get wrong, and it's costing them years of independence.
So now that you understand why eggs, or any high leucine protein, are such a game changer for breakfast, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked: how much protein you actually need and when you need it. Here's a fact that might surprise you. If you're over 60, your body doesn't respond to protein the same way it did when you were younger. Researchers call this anabolic resistance. In simple terms, it means your muscles need more protein at one time to trigger growth than a 25-year-old would. So while a teenager can eat 10 grams of protein and their muscles start building, someone in their 60s or 70s needs closer to 25 to 30 grams in one meal to get the same effect. Think about that for a second. How many of your breakfasts right now come anywhere close to 25 grams of protein? A bowl of oatmeal with fruit? Maybe 5 grams. A slice of toast with jam? Maybe 2 grams. A muffin or pastry? 0. No wonder so many older adults lose muscle at an alarming rate. They're starting every day by starving their muscles. Now compare that with 2 eggs and a side of Greek yogurt. 2 eggs, about 12 grams. A cup of Greek yogurt, about 15 grams. That's 27 grams of protein right there before you even finished your morning coffee. And here's the science. Studies consistently show that older adults who hit that 25 to 30 gram mark at breakfast have significantly more muscle strength, less fat mass, and better mobility than those who save all their protein for dinner. Let me give you an example. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging followed seniors who spread their protein evenly across 3 meals versus those who ate most of it at dinner. The group who had balanced protein intake, including a strong protein breakfast, had greater muscle strength and were less likely to be frail. That's a huge difference, and it's just from moving protein into the morning. But it's not just about the numbers. Protein in the morning also helps stabilize blood sugar. Many seniors deal with blood sugar swings that cause fatigue, brain fog, or even dizziness. When you anchor your breakfast with protein, you blunt those spikes. giving you steadier energy through the day. That's why people who switch from cereal to eggs often say, "I don't crash in the afternoon anymore." Now let's get practical. If you want to consistently hit that 25-gram mark, here's some easy breakfast combos. 2 scrambled eggs with a half cup of cottage cheese, about 28 grams. An omelet with spinach, cheese, and 1 slice of whole grain toast, about 25 grams. 2 boiled eggs plus a protein smoothie made with milk and half a scoop of whey protein, about 30 grams. Greek yogurt topped with nuts and a boiled egg on the side, about 27 grams. These are simple, affordable, and quick. No complicated recipes, no exotic ingredients, just real food that your muscles understand. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, why eggs and not just protein shakes? Protein powders can definitely be helpful, especially if your appetite is low. But here's the catch. Whole foods like eggs come with not just protein, but all the supporting nutrients your body needs. For example, the vitamin D in eggs helps your body actually use that protein for muscle building. The choline supports your nervous system, which controls your muscle contractions. A shake alone doesn't give you that. That's why I always recommend starting with food first, then using protein powders as a backup. Here's something else most people don't realize. The morning is when your body is most sensitive to leucine. Think of it like your muscles are waking up and waiting for instructions. If you give them carbs, they burn fuel but don't build. If you give them protein with leucine, they get the message loud and clear. Build strength. That's why starting with eggs is so powerful. It sets the tone for your whole day. Now let's zoom out for a second. I want you to picture 2 people, both in their late 60s. One of them eats cereal every morning, maybe a piece of fruit, but little protein until dinner. The other starts their day with 2 eggs, some yogurt, and maybe a handful of nuts. Fast forward 5 years. The first person struggles to stand from a chair, needs a cane, and feels weaker every month. The second is still walking independently, carrying groceries, maybe even hiking with their grandkids. That's the difference breakfast makes. It's not small, it's life-changing. And I know some of you might be thinking, I've eaten cereal for 40 years, I'm fine. But here's the truth. Muscle loss creeps up quietly. You don't feel it at first, but then one day you realize the stairs are harder, your balance feels off, and your clothes fit differently. By the time you notice, you've already lost a significant amount. The only way to stop it is to act now before the weakness shows up. Now let me ask you a question. How much protein do you think you eat at breakfast right now? Be honest. Comment below. I want to see how many of you are hitting that 25-gram goal and how many are way under it. I think most will be surprised when they calculate it. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure you subscribe because in just a minute, I'm going to share one of the most overlooked reasons seniors lose muscle and how your breakfast food can actually protect your bones and joints too, not just your muscles. This is critical because weak bones and weak muscles are the perfect recipe for falls, and falls are the #1 reason older adults end up in nursing homes. We don't want that for you. So let's connect the dots. Eggs give you protein and leucine, but the yolk also gives you vitamin D, which is essential for bone strength. Most older adults are deficient in vitamin D, especially in the US where many live indoors or in colder states. Low vitamin D doesn't just mean weaker bones, it also means weaker muscles, slower reflexes, and higher fall risk. Just 1 egg yolk gives you a meaningful boost of vitamin D, and when you combine that with even a short daily walk in the sun, you've got a natural, powerful defense system. Now here's a quick but important tip. Don't eat your eggs completely alone. Pair them with a small source of healthy fat, like avocado or olive oil, because that helps you absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in the yolk, like vitamin D and vitamin A. It's a simple trick that makes your breakfast work even harder for you. And here's the final point I want to make in this section. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to eat 6 eggs a day or make radical changes overnight. Just make protein-rich breakfasts your new normal. Day after day, week after week, those 25 grams of protein every morning will slowly rebuild the muscle you've lost and protect you from losing more. The results won't show in a week, but give it 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you'll look back amazed at how much stronger, steadier, and more capable you feel. So don't underestimate this. Breakfast is not just the first meal of the day, it's the first medicine of the day. And if you choose wisely, you can quite literally reverse the clock on muscle loss. So far, we've talked about why breakfast matters, why protein is critical, and why eggs stand out as one of the most powerful foods you can add to your morning routine. But let's go even deeper. Because reversing muscle loss isn't just about muscles. It's about protecting your independence, your brain, your heart, and even your mood. And the food you start your day with sets off a chain reaction that touches every one of those areas. Here's something most people don't realize. Muscle is not just about strength. It's also one of your body's biggest regulators of metabolism. Your muscles act like a sponge for blood sugar. When you have healthy, strong muscle, your blood sugar stays steady, your energy lasts longer, and your risk of type 2 diabetes plummets. But when you lose muscle, that sponge shrinks, and suddenly, even small amounts of carbs spike your blood sugar. That's one reason why seniors who lose muscle often develop diabetes late in life, even if they never had it before. Now here's where breakfast protein comes back in. When you start your day with a high-protein meal like eggs, you not only feed your muscles, you also tell your body to keep that sponge working. You're training your metabolism to stay efficient. And that's why so many seniors who make this switch notice, hey, my energy doesn't crash in the afternoon anymore. It's not just the protein, it's the metabolic reset. But let's go further. Did you know that muscle loss is directly linked to brain decline? Yes, sarcopenia, the technical name for age-related muscle loss, is strongly associated with dementia risk. A study published in Age and Aging found that seniors with low muscle mass were significantly more likely to develop cognitive decline than those with stronger muscles. Why? Because muscle doesn't just move you, it communicates with your brain through special proteins called myokines. These are little messengers released during muscle activity that keep your brain sharp and resilient. So when you protect your muscle, you're not just protecting your legs, you're protecting your memory. Think about that the next time you crack an egg into the pan. That protein isn't just for your biceps, it's food for your brain. Now let's talk about mood. Have you ever noticed that people who eat sugary breakfasts, like muffins or pancakes, get cranky by mid-morning? That's blood sugar talking. High-protein breakfasts stabilize your mood, reduce anxiety, and even help fight depression. In fact, tryptophan, an amino acid found in eggs, is a building block for serotonin, the feel-good hormone. That's why so many of my patients report feeling calmer, happier, and more even-keeled once they switched to protein-rich breakfasts. And here's something I want you to hear loud and clear. It's never too late to benefit. Even if you're 75, 80, or older, your body can still build muscle. Studies prove that seniors well into their 80s can gain muscle mass and strength simply by increasing protein and doing light exercise. So if you're watching this and thinking, it's too late for me, I want you to erase that thought right now. Your body is always listening. It's never too late to send the right message. Now let's get practical again. Some of you may not love eggs, or maybe you've been told to watch your cholesterol. Let's clear that up with science. Decades ago, eggs got a bad reputation because people thought dietary cholesterol raised blood cholesterol. But newer, larger studies show that for the vast majority of people, eating eggs does not raise your risk of heart disease. In fact, the nutrients in eggs like choline, vitamin D, and omega-3s actually support heart health. Of course, if your doctor has given you very specific advice, follow that. But for most older adults, 1 to 2 eggs per day is not only safe, it's beneficial. But if eggs truly aren't for you, there are alternatives. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, turkey sausage, or even a small piece of salmon left over from dinner can all give you that 25-gram protein boost. The key is not the exact food, it's the habit of starting your day with muscle-building protein. And I want to make this very clear. Protein alone won't work if your body doesn't move. Think of protein as the bricks and exercise as the construction crew. If you eat the bricks but never hire the crew, the house won't get built. That's why the best approach is to combine a high-protein breakfast with at least some form of movement. It doesn't have to be heavy lifting. Even a 20-minute walk, some bodyweight exercises, or simple resistance band movements after breakfast can supercharge the muscle-building effect. Imagine this routine. You wake up, have 2 eggs with yogurt, maybe a slice of avocado toast. You've just fed your muscles. Then you do a short walk or some gentle chair exercises. That's when the protein gets put to work. You have now activated the 2 most powerful anti-aging tools in your toolbox: nutrition and movement. Now, let's bring this home. Over 60, your #1 priority isn't how much you weigh. It's how much strength you maintain. Because strength equals independence. Strength equals freedom. Strength means you can get up off the toilet by yourself, carry your groceries, play with your grandkids, and live life on your terms. And it all starts with what you put on your plate first thing in the morning. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, instead of reaching for cereal or toast alone, add 2 eggs. That's it. Just 2 eggs. Do it for a week and notice how you feel. Then try to build up to 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast. Keep it simple, keep it consistent. And then come back here and comment your results. I want to hear your stories because your story might inspire another senior watching this video who thinks it's too late for them. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend or family member who needs to hear it. You never know. One small change in their breakfast could prevent a fall, keep them out of the hospital, or even extend their life. That's how powerful this is. So let me leave you with this thought. Every morning, you have 2 choices. You can eat like your muscles don't matter, or you can eat like your independence depends on it, because it does. And the good news is the choice is simple, delicious, and affordable. Just add that 1 powerful food, eggs, to your breakfast and watch your strength, your energy, and your confidence come back to life.